Hello everyone, my name's Debbie and in today's video I'm going to show you my Urban Decay eyeshadow palette collection. I've been collecting these palettes since 2007, got 28 of their palettes in total, some of which are limited edition, right through to more recent palettes as well. So if you'd like to see what's in my collection, then please keep on watching. So the very first one that I bought was this. I don't even know how old it is. It's got that lovely soft kind of velvety packaging that you find in Anastasia palettes now, and then like a gunmetal on the front. If we open that up, I'll try not to blind you, but this is what you have inside. When I bought this palette I used to really love neutral colours, so I've used Scratched and Underground a lot. I've not used so much of the bright colours. I think now Graffiti and Peace would be my favourite colours. So my style has changed a lot, as you'll see as I go through the palettes. This palette also is unique to my collection because it had those horrible little sponge tip applicators which I used to use to do my makeup, fun fact. Okay, moving on to the next one. Just a really small palette. I bought this one because I thought it would be great to go travelling with. It's been very well used in my collection. I don't use it anymore actually because it's mainly all shimmer shades. I think it's all shimmers apart from Blackout, which is black. So it's hard to create a cohesive look with it now for me. But I did find it useful when I first bought it because it's so small and there weren't very many small colourful palettes about at the time when I purchased this one. So this one is the Urban Decay Book of Shadows, and this got me really interested in Urban Decay as a brand. If I just show you the inside, it's just absolutely beautiful. It pops up, there's a mirror inside, and then the shadows, if I close that I'll show you, come out of the front. You have to excuse the state of this palette because I have used it so much. This was in the days I only had this palette and probably a Naked palette, and so I just used this all the time, and I'd have my go-to looks using Roach, Scandal and Midnight Cowboy used to be my go-to. Roach all over my lids and then Scandal to blend it out and Midnight Cowboy on my brow bone. I had no idea how to use makeup at that time, and I used the sponge applicators out of the palette I showed you earlier to apply them, so it probably looked terrible. But it was before the days of YouTube and nobody really knew how to do their makeup in the way that they do now. Also inside this one was a couple of eye pencils, which is why there's a gap there, and I've used those, and the original of the primer potion as well, which, oh there you go, it's in focus now, in shot now for you. So that's the primer potion. It's empty now, but I've just kept it in the palette. So that's the first Book of Shadows. They used to bring these out as a Christmas release, so each year there's a new one of these, so that takes me on to the next one that I'm going to show you. So this is the Book of Shadows Volume 2. Again, it's got very similar packaging to the last one in that it opens up inside. This one has got bits that you can open up inside here. Oh, I didn't even remember that there was this inside. It's even got some looks inside the book. Inside, so I never even noticed were in there. I'll have to have a look at that at some time. But I kept those in there. And then inside the palette looks like this, and again you can see this one is a very used palette for me. Try not to blind you there. The no surprises of which one that I've used the most. It's Midnight Cowboy Rides Again, which is a very similar colour to Midnight Cowboy. So I haven't really used the more colourful shadows in this one either. Again, it had a little primer potion like the Book of Shadows one and 2 eye pencils, and I've used the black one but I never really used brown eye pencils, so that one's still in here. The formula back then was very glittery, very hard, kind of grindy sort of feeling under your fingertips compared to what it is now, so it's improved so much more, but I literally love this palette when I got it. Okay, move on to this next kind of New York City theme to the packaging. Again, it's got the top that you can open up, and it lights up and it still does work, which is amazing because I've had this palette probably, I would say some of these are 10 years or more old, so the fact that it still works and it opens up and lights up like it does, I'm really surprised actually at that. This one I don't think I've used as much, but here's the colours inside this one. By this point I'd started to get into other brands. I got this one for Christmas and I didn't really touch it so much. You can see a lot of the glitter fall out from the shade Oozy and Midnight Cowboy Rise again, surprisingly, because that one seemed to make it into most of their palettes. Also the primer potion became this shape, so I wonder how many of you will remember seeing that on the shelves, but that's what the primer potion used to look like. If you open it up, it used to have a wand inside like the packaging does now, just like that, but was inside like a potion kind of shaped bottle, which was really cute. And they did a full size of that you could buy at the time. These, I've got both of the Alice in Wonderland palettes. This was the first one that came out. Again, very similar in that it's got the pop-up design inside. I absolutely love the detail that Urban Decay used to put into these palettes. They're bulky to store, granted, but I absolutely love them in my collection. This way I'll never get rid of them. Inside, same sort of situation. You could pull the palette out. And when I bought this palette, I absolutely loved Queen and Curiouser. They renamed some of their existing shadow names to tie them in with the Alice theme. So I think these were released. So Midnight Cowboy, for example, is called Midnight Tea Party in this palette. But I really used up more the sort of taupey colours out of this one, the maroons and taupes. And again, you got the two eye pencils, one of which was a green in there. Let's just have a look at that shade. That was Flipside. It's called Flipside. Don't know if that's still made anymore. And another one of the primer potions in there. Got the Alice in Wonderland Alice Through the Looking Glass palette. I wasn't ever going to use this palette when I got it. It doesn't have the flip up. Oh yes, it does. It has the flip up. Do you know, I didn't even realise it had a flip up inside. So there you go, when you flip that up, how beautiful is that? And then if you pull this out, you can see all the shadows inside. They look sort of 3D. This one's good because you can pull the whole palette out of the casing for it. And it almost looks like it's 3D just because of the way that the packaging is arranged with the black and white sort of checkerboard around it. I've recently done a look on my Instagram using this, using the shades Metamorphosis, Heads Will Roll and Salazangrum, however you say that. And it was really pretty. I didn't want to use this palette because I just wanted to keep it. And then I started to think, there's so many beautiful colours. I saw somebody else use this and I just decided that I needed to try it out. So, sort of my most loved palettes in my collection. Absolutely adore this palette. And I adore the movie, which I think is why I love it so much. Were film tie-ins. I've got both of the Oz palettes here. You'll see in a minute which one I favoured. Can get it open. So this was clearly my favourite. As you can see, I've hit pan on most of the shades inside this one. I think actually I've taken some of these out and repotted them with other ones because they have this very clever scheme where you can pop out the whole thing. And I think Urban Decay still sell these, but you can see the shade names on the back there, but they pop into this palette by just pressing them into the packaging. So I think I did swap some out when I actually used up the shade, so this isn't as original as it might be, but I absolutely love this and used most of the shades. I used to love cool tone neutrals at the time, so that's why the purple and the taupes and browns have gone first, and the pink of course in the corner. So that one was the Glinda palette. And then I've got the Theodora palette here, which I bought because I wanted both in the set. At the time, I didn't use any of these shades. I don't so much these days either, to be fair. I do some neutral looks, but I tend to steer more towards colourful looks. So this one's been very neglected in my collection. But it's amazing that the formula is still pretty good on these, because I think it's got to be 5 years or more old and they still perform okay. I've swatched them and they seem to be fine. And you've got a pencil in both of those packages. On to the next one. This one's the Spectrum palette. This one's quite unique because of the packaging. I don't know if you can see the packaging on the side. You can take this out, and when you've used the shadows up in the corner here, you can actually lift it. I don't know if I can do it right now, but you can lift that. It becomes a jewellery box inside. This has got some really beautiful dual tone shadows. I have used this one. The shade Flashback is absolutely beautiful, and the shade Backlash as well. And also this shade Deep End, which is the Deep End 24/7 liner, if you've used that. There's some really, really beautiful shadows in this one if you like dual tones, which I think is what Urban Decay are known for. Sorry if you can hear my cat. Okay, the next one I bought is the Full Spectrum palette. I remember when this came out being absolutely terrified of this colour combination. So, I've got a picture of me there without any makeup on in the mirror. But this is super bright, super colourful, every shade in the rainbow. I should love it, but I don't really like the formula as much as perhaps I should in this one. I can make it work and build it up, but I've got better shadows in my collection now than this one. But as I say, when I bought it, I remember I was with a friend when I bought it and they said, "You'll never wear it, it's so bright," because it was in my more neutral wearing days. But there are some really beautiful shades in this palette. Particularly the blues and greens in here, just gorgeous. And that yellow Calavera. And again, in super nice packaging, big mirror, double-ended brush on that one as well. So that one's the Full Spectrum palettes. So this is my Vice palette 3. I didn't buy for some reason the Vice 1 or 2, if a Vice 1 or 2 existed. I don't remember them being there, but I think at that point I decided I'd got enough makeup. Shock horror, that would never happen now. But this is the Vice 3 anyway. It had like a zip-up bag that it sat inside, which I do still have somewhere, that you could use as a makeup bag. And then inside, got all these really beautiful colours, and a double-ended brush as well. I find their brushes to be really good as well, so it's always nice to get those. We've got a super neutral row there, cool tone row down the right-hand side. Quite a cohesive palette for having so many bright and colourful shades. Even someone that's not really into colour probably wouldn't find this one too scary to use. You can create some really beautiful neutral toned looks with a pop of colour using this one. My favourite shades in this one, probably Dragon and Alchemy. So the green and the pink out of this one. So that's the Vice 3 palette. Palette. So beautiful packaging on this one. It's like 3D over the packaging. Really, really stunning packaging on this one. If I open that up, same similar layout inside that the Vice palettes have. Got some neutrals, some cool tones and warm tones. Some of those mattes that have got a bit of sparkle in that Urban Decay seem to love to do. Some really beautiful bronzy shades in this one. I love the shade called Flame at the bottom, second one in from the bottom there, that shade. That's really stunning on the eyes. It's a really, really nice palette, this one. I'm such a collector, I had to get this one. It very much resembles the packaging that I've shown you with the jewel toned palette earlier, the Full Spectrum palette. It's got that raised UD on it, sort of like a jewel coming out of the top of the packaging. but it was the Vice limited edition Reloaded palette. I'm having troubles opening this one. Alright, inside this palette you can see all the shades. Super beautiful shades, some really unique shades in this one. I really haven't used it enough, and I need to start using this one. For the length of time I've had it, I think I've only used it 3 or 4 times. But can you recognise a shade that I should have been using more? In the top right hand corner we have Midnight Cowboy again, which makes it into a lot of their palettes. Favourites in this one, I would say Asphyxia, Gash and Goldmine. They're all beautiful shades. And UV as well. What they did with this palette is bring back some of their favourite shades, but in their much better formula, so it's a lot less gritty. Just a really good formula in this one. So that one's the Vice limited edition Reloaded palette. The Vice limited Reloaded, I bought the Moon Dust palette. Absolutely stunning packaging on this one. It's like glittery, but it won't come off. It's like plasticky, glittery, highly reflective, and then that's like deep into the packaging. And they're glitter toppers. You probably do need something else underneath them, but they're absolutely stunning on the eyes. I don't think this is doing it justice to actually show you the colours, but the colour Element and the colour Galaxy, absolutely stunning. Love both of those colours so much. And Light Year, the green, it's really beautiful for green looks as well. Okay. Then I've got the Electric palette, the palette that started all of the rainbow palettes I believe that are out there now. Just some absolutely gorgeous shades in here. Slow Burn and Savage are so bright on the eyes. I love Chaos. I've got the liner that matches Chaos, which is that shade there. The silver shade as well, Revolt, is really, really beautiful, highly impactful. You can make some really stunning looks with this palette. It is a pressed pigment palette, so the shades do stain your eyes if you're worried about that, but it doesn't worry me. I wear makeup every day. I'll cover up whatever is on my eyes anyway, so it doesn't worry me. But just a gorgeous colour scheme with bright electric colours that really show up vibrant on the eyes. Absolutely love this one. And the brush is cool as well. It's got very narrow tip on one end. As you can see, I can get that to focus. So that's a very good one for packing colour, perhaps in the inner corner or on your lower lash line, and then on the other side as well. It's got more of a, I don't know, like a packing brush, but it is splayed out on the end, so you can use that to blend in your crease or pack colour on. So it's quite a versatile little brush that comes with that one. So that's the Electric palette. I really wish they hadn't discontinued that one. I think it's a shame that they've gone away more from the colourful palettes and more to neutral palettes. Although I love neutrals as well, I just think they haven't got that offering so much in their collection now, and this one, you know, filled a gap in their line for me, and I just think it's an iconic palette from them. One of my favourites. The original, this one is totally original from when the Naked palettes were first launched, so I think about 2009, 2010, something like that, when this one came out, so I wouldn't use this anymore. But here are the shades inside. I never hit pan on anything anymore, but you can see how much well loved this palette was. Hit pan totally on Virgin, Sin, Sidecar, Toasted. Basically all of the, I used to use a lot more shimmers than I do mattes, so all of the shimmery shades. I used to just put one matte through my crease, which is Naked, and then just put a different shimmer on the top, and there was only a couple of mattes in this palette anyway, but I preferred the Naked shade as my matte shade. But there's something about the tones of this palette and just the way it makes smoky, beautiful looks effortlessly. I used to wear this one to go out a lot if I wanted to look really pretty. Just really loved this palette at the time. And then last year it was announced that this was I had to buy a new one because I couldn't risk that I couldn't get hold of this. So, and I can't use that one anymore because it's so old. So I've now got a brand new one to use there. They've made the brush double-ended now. Used this once or twice since I've got it. The formula is much better, I believe, personally, than it used to be. I've got rid of a lot of the grit that I was talking about in older palettes, and it's a lot smoother on the eyes, but the colours are the same and it's just beautiful. So I'm really glad to have a second one in my collection that I can actually use. So that's the original Naked. I don't have this one's the Naked Ultimate Basics, and I was really excited for some reason when this came out. I remember stalking every website that was talking about this palette because it's got all your staple neutral shades but all matte, and I have used this a lot, although it doesn't look like it. I'm super light-handed with eyeshadows, but the shade Lethal is beautiful, and the shade Extra Bitter, which at the time when this came out, which is the orange shade at the bottom, when this came out, warm toned orange shadows weren't so easy to find, and when this came out everyone was super excited about that shade, and that's why I wanted the palette as well. So that's the Naked Ultimate Basics palette, which is great to use on a day-to-day basis, office looks, etc. Although these days I'll wear just about any colour to the office, but that's what I bought this one for. Okay, so moving on from the Naked palettes, okay, these palettes are the Jean-Michel Basquiat collection, like collaboration. Jean-Michel Basquiat, if you don't know, was an artist, so the palettes reflect like the style of art that he did. If you open turn the palette over, you can see there's even a little slot there, so if you wanted to use it as art when you finish the palette, which I thought was a super cool idea. Just so unique, these palettes. That's the palette inside. I often take this one travelling with me because it's got some basics that you can do, you know, a neutral-ish look, neutral for me anyway, so Neo and Studio, I can make quite a neutral look with. But the colours, Boom and Exu, are just absolutely stunning on the eyes, so it's quite versatile. You can get a lot of looks out of this. Again, you've got the double-ended brush inside, and it's the Jean-Michel Basquiat limited edition brush inside, but pretty much the same brush that I showed you that the electric palette has. So it's a really, really good palette, good formula. Also came out with this one. I wasn't going to get it to start with because I was like, it's quite neutral and I've got a lot of neutrals, and then I saw a few people reviewing it, saw some looks with it, and I got tempted to get it. So this is this one, and although I like the colourful one more, there are some really nice colours in this one and you can get some great looks out of it. The colour Crown, which is the goldy colour at the edge, is super lovely as like an inner corner, sort of lid shade. You can make a really nice neutral sort of smoky warm brown look with it, but you've also got pseudonym to darken things up as well. So the two together, actually, I feel I've got just about every colour that I need for travel, so these often go with me as a pair now if I go away, because they're quite small to travel with. They're robust packaging, they've got the double-ended brushes, and this one's got a different brush to the other one that I showed you. So you've got sort of almost like a sort of bullet-ended pencil brush on that end, and a bit more of a fluffy ended brush on this end. It's not focusing very well. Try and get it to focus, but I can't. But yeah, super versatile brush inside there, and I do love Urban Decay brushes. So you've sort of got yourself 4 brushes if you take both of those away with you with the double end. So that's the Basquiat collection there. That the colour layout inside throws them off, but I actually really like it. I think it does inspire me to create looks. I have used this for me quite a lot because I've got a lot of palettes. My Urban Decay palettes are just one of the brands of palettes that I've got, and I've got a lot more palettes. So when you see how many I've got, this is why I don't hit pan on anything. But the colour LCW is stunning, and then that colour in the middle, Leo and Brixton, is duochrome. So you've got your inner corner highlights or brow bone highlights, but they also used as a topper will change the colours of the others underneath. For a warm look, that colour tagine is beautiful. I love it when a palette's got black in it, because it means you can darken up a look and change the colours of eyeshadows that are already there. So just find this one super versatile. It's got a mirror as well, super small package, and a double-ended brush, and it's a similar brush to the one I just showed you, where you've got like the bullet pencil brush on one end and a blending brush on the other, which is super nice. So that one's the Christian Lian colourful palette. So that was the Kaleidoscope Dream palette, which is this one, which is useful for super neutral looks. There are some really nice shades in this though, particularly 1212 in the middle there. It's a beautiful rosy, orangey, corally shade. All of the mattes in this, they're all matte, but they blend really well. You can make a super quick, easy look with this. Great one for travel if you haven't got any time to think of a makeup look and you just want it to work. This one has got you covered, but it also blends really well. You know, to give you a few more transition colours to use with the Kaleidoscope Dream palette, which is why I wanted it. And I'm a bit of a completist, I like to have everything from a collection when it comes out, so that's why I bought them both. But that one's the Daydream palette from the Christian Lian collection. It's the Distortion palette. This one, it took me a long time to decide to get this one. You can see my lights in my bedroom reflecting on that, so I'm sorry about that. But the bottom two rows are your eyeshadows, and then the top row are shifting colours that are duochrome that you can put over the top of the existing shadows to change up the look of them. But the whole reason I wanted this palette was the two colours in the middle from the left. So First Offence and Hot Box. I love a warm goldy orangey shade, and this one is so buttery, so bronzy, so beautiful. So I really had to have that. And I love a green eyeshadow, so Hot Box just looks gorgeous. Again, you've got Blackout in here, which is their black shade. Urban Decay Black is one of the best blacks that I've used, so it's super useful to have that in the palette. So it is a versatile palette. I picked this one up for about £20 on sale. I'm really glad I did. I've had some really good looks out of this one, really interesting looks. Packaging is also really, really beautiful. If you can see the way it's sort of shattered on the front, it's really, really beautiful. So that's the Distortion palette. Getting near the end of my palettes now. So this one is quite a modern palette, you guys probably have seen before. So it's the Beached Eyeshadow palette, and it's just all the sort of colours that remind you of a seascape or beach. Really, really nice formula. It's as good a formula as the Jean-Michel Basquiat collection. I sometimes find with Urban Decay their formula for their shimmers can be a bit hit and miss, but these are super creamy, really reflective on the eyes. Just makes some beautiful looks, whether you just want to pop a blue on the lower lash line, you know, with a colour like, say, Heat Wave on the lid. You know, you can make some really easy to create but really beautiful looks with this. Nice package as well, really nice small package. Again, really great for travelling on holidays. I picked up the Born to Run palette. I love the packaging concept for this palette, and the fact that it's got a mirror that you can turn it completely round. That's a major plus for me, because I don't really use the mirrors in palettes, and it's nice to just be able to turn it all the way around and get to the colours. Thought I was going to absolutely love this, and I'd found my holy grail of travel palettes, but I find that a lot of the looks I can get out of this tend to look a bit the same. So there's a lot of warm tones in there. There's only really your few pops of green or blue, so Radio, Big Sky and Wanderlust, but everything else gives you quite similar looks, I feel. Ignite's a super pretty colour, but it wasn't as useful in my collection as I thought it might be. Probably just doesn't have the brightness of shades that I perhaps go for these days. I can see if I'd still be my neutral living self, then I would absolutely love this still, but for my makeup style and how it's evolved now and the colours that I like to wear, I do like it, but I don't love it. And that one is the Born to Run palette. They did such a cool job with the packaging though. It's sturdy, and the pictures on it are just stunning. So you know that when you travel with it, it's going to be safe in your bag. So from that point of view, absolutely love it. We've also got this year's limited edition palette. I try very hard not to blind you guys here and show you this one. So this one's the Elements palette, and I find that I enjoy this one more than the Born to Run. And I know the Born to Run got a lot better reviews and more hype, but I definitely find I can create more looks with this one, and that the looks that I create are more diverse. The blues, the purples, the greens that are in this, you can get some really stunning colours. There's not many mattes in this. There's only 3 mattes, and they're on the neutral side. But with Urban Decay shimmer formula, it's quite a thin formula, almost like a hybrid between a sort of matte and a shimmer, like a satin, I suppose. And you can blend it into your crease and get some really beautiful looks out of it. So I do find this one useful for travel. The mirror is as big as the palette. Try not to blind you so I'm not showing you, but it has got a mirror in the top as big as the size of this palette, which is also useful for those that like to travel with a mirror. So I say I don't so much use the mirrors in palettes. I tend to use the mirror on my vanity or whatever, but for those that like mirrors, it is a super big mirror on this one. Really beautiful design of packaging. I only got this one for Christmas. I've only used it 2 or 3 times since getting it, but I absolutely love it so far. So that one is the Elements palette. Palette which was all shimmers. Now this one I am going to blind you, whatever I do. I think I have to put my hand over it and show you each side. So it had one side of all more colourful shades, and then if I turn it round, you've got the neutral shimmer shades. It's an all shimmer palette, but the formula on this is absolutely beautiful. I tend to not use it so much as I perhaps would, because you've got to think about what other mattes you're going to bring in with it. But whenever I've used it, I've created some amazing looks with it. Really, really beautiful palette. Packaging's kind of annoying. Trying to get it back in the packaging now. I can see why people talk about the packaging. It goes into this side. It won't pull out of the other end. It goes in just one way to that sort of more concertinaed end there. But that one was the Heavy Metals palette that came out in Christmas 2017. Collection, almost at the end. I love this little palette. So this one is the Troublemaker palette, still available I believe, if you want to pick this one up. I love it because you can create some really grungy looks with this one. The colour Relish, you can do a sort of smoky red look with that one. If you blend Girl Crush on the lids and then Relish into your crease, and then just smoke it out with 7 and 7 at the top. I've done that a few times. And the green colour Bankroll is stunning as well, but it gives you some really grungy sort of more gothy tones depending on what liners that you pair with it. But super nice. I even like the split tone pan in the middle, so that you've got a touch of black and a touch of white to use, because I find that you don't need very much black when you're using a palette, so it's good use of the space. Got a mirror as well. Super nice cardboard packaging, really small and easy to travel with and use. So that one is the Troublemaker palette. It came with a Troublemaker mascara as well in the set, which is also super nice. Okay, so that brings us to the end of my palette collection video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up so that I know, and also please let me know down in the comments if you'd like to see any more palette collection videos from me. I've got lots of palettes from lots of other brands, including Kat Von D, Anastasia, Too Faced, and also some indie brands as well. So please let me know. But thank you so much for watching this video, and have a great day. Bye.